And we are live.
We're live.
Hello, Ariel. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for having me on this. It's a pleasure. Awesome.
It's an honor for me too. So, um, first question I ask everybody when I start the podcast is, who is Ariel Costa? And
Ah,
please don't give me your title. That's going to be
okay.
displayed. That's going to
No,
be
no.
displayed on the video. I think everybody kind of like knows your body of work.
Uh-huh.
I want a more personal answer. Like, if you would
Yeah.
have to define yourself, who is Ariel Costa?
I've been asking this question for the past 41 years, you know. I don't think I truly figured out who am I. And that's the fun part about being a human being, you know. I'm still trying to figure it out. And by saying that, I have chances to improve each day. So I don't know if I can define myself. If I can define myself, like my essence is I'm a good guy, and I love to create art. That's the cheesy way to describe myself. But if you want a more deeper level answer, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest with you, because I don't have the answer yet.
Okay. Don't worry. I will try to dig more of it
Please do.
during the call.
Let's make a therapy.
So, as you know, if you've listened to the podcast,
Yes.
the way I choose topics is this is not random.
Mm-hmm.
I see things passing by and I write those down, or I keep them in the corner of my head. And then I come across people and then I connect those two.
Cool.
And so the topic of today is called Emotions Undercover.
That's cool.
And I think your answer already now saying that you cannot define yourself
Uh-huh.
already connects with this strongly. So, from looking at your work and its evolution, all your work has always a very strong human factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the invitation email I sent you, I spoke a lot about this human aspects and the fact of that we all need kind of like to reconnect. And so this human factor can happen in many ways, but there's pretty much, I think, except maybe a few exceptions in your work, there's always a human representation, like a character,
Yes.
a human character.
Yes.
And I would like to know why.
Yes, I would say that mostly it's more like an accident. Let's say I started doing a bunch of, like, I would say, regular motion graphics, like real graphics, and back in the day, I started trying to incorporate a little bit of collage into my work, like adding more textures and adding characters felt right to me, because in terms of storytelling, because back in the day, if you want to rewind a little bit, I wanted, in the first place, I wanted to become like a live action director. I want to tell stories with characters and like in a real life characters, like live action. And it, like, in our industry, there's a bunch of happy accidents. We're exploring stuff and we face those happy accidents, and animation was one of those happy accidents for me. I fell in love with this craft, and again, just so we get back to that topic, I wanted to combine a little bit of this storytelling into my work. And of course, you can do that with graphics, but until a certain point, you cannot go deeper than that. And once I started to explore a little bit more characters and bring in collage to it, it felt right to me, because I was able to tell a story on a more deep level. And of course, I could have create 2D characters to do that, but I wanted, in my work, and love putting this, as you said, this human aspect to it. I like my piece to feel handmade in a way. If you take a closer look to my characters or my work in general, you see that I don't like to have perfections in my work. I like to embrace the failure. I wouldn't say failures, but I like to embrace the imperfections. Like the way that I cut my characters, I just try to emulate some Caesars. You know, I want it to feel like a very human made. And the idea of bringing those photos, you know, to create characters and use these real elements and mix it up and create its own reality to it, it's very interesting to me, you know, and I feel like I can achieve this human level that I was looking for in the beginning when I wanted to do like live action stuff, and in a more interesting way because I can manipulate the reality of my characters and of the world that I'm creating, you know. So that's really fun. It's really fun to me. So
It's fun that you mentioned the fact that you wanted to do live action in the beginning, because this was going to be like something I was going to touch point like later on into the recording of the podcast. But like since you mentioned that, I think it's important to bring that in here. Is that like also from looking your body of work and looking at its evolution, you know, I would say, but this is like, of course, my analysis.
okay.
Is that you started with something that was in the beginning more pure collage, like very bare bone collage. And now you've refined your style to a point where there's a lot of elements of like reality that are in there, like the texturing, the depth of it, like the shadows, the chromatic aberrations. When I say texturing, is not only the characters or the environment, but it's also like the texturing of this film look feel, if you want.
Yes.
So now I understand better, like that path of thought that's leading to where you are today.
I'm glad you brought that up because the idea, I've been working so hard to try to combine these worlds, because my idea was always trying, of course, in the beginning, it's always an evolution, you know, you're just trying to keep things in one thing leads to another and you're creating something cool. And I always wanted to, again, because I wanted to create something realistic, but in the same way surrealistic, I wanted to create this world and portray this world with, you know, diverse characters, like funny characters in a very cinematic way, you know, but not in a 3D way. Because 3D way has been done before. It's great. It's amazing. And to be honest with you, I'm not like a 3D person, not because I don't like it, but because I feel like I don't have the brain to learn properly. That it's an amazing craft. It's beautiful. But I feel like there's something really fun in this 2D world. And once you put some depth and some cinematic look, some cameras in there, you turn your idea into something odd, but in a good way, you know? It's this 2D world, but living in a 3D environment. And it's very cool. It's been fun to explore that. And I hope I can keep exploring further, you know, but it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, you know, this odd aspect, because that's leading me straight to like the topic, which is like the emotions on the cover. And again, except like a few pieces of yours, all your characters have some goofiness.
Yes.
But I'm saying this in a good way. Like
I take it, yeah.
There is like warmth. You know, sometimes it's the look, sometimes it's like the movement, the way they react. There's always this kind of like goofiness.
Yes.
And I was wondering, you know how sometimes people are very humorous when they're outside, and it's a way of kind of like hide that somehow they are shy inside. It's like a kind of like a shell. And so, of course, when you're doing your pieces, you're not exposing yourself physically or in a
Yes.
like in a real conversation, but you're exposing yourself as an artist.
Yes.
And I wanted to know if like this wasn't somehow emotions on the cover.
That's really interesting that you found this. It's another perspective, I would say. That's for sure. Because I'm a very shy guy. I'm super introvert. I wouldn't do like nearly anything that my characters usually do. But what I try to do, I try not to take my work very seriously, but in a good way. Of course, I'm a professional, but I just try not to take it very seriously. I don't want to. I just want to have fun doing that, and because we live, you're. I don't know how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 44.
44. I'm 41. So we kind of came from the same generation of artists. And back in the day, I don't know if you remember, but because the industry was way smaller, and and it was not like there's not a lot of information to find things here and there,
There was nothing.
and there was nothing, and there was like motion graphics was not a thing. Was like just animation, regular animation. And I remember when it was starting, there was this joy to try to look for inspiration. And every time that you see a project out there, remember PsyOp used to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
There was no like only Buck. There was a bunch of different studios creating different stuff. They had no fear of exploring new techniques or different stuff. And nowadays, I feel like everybody's trying to mimic each other. I'm not saying, of course, pointing names or anything like that. I just feel like that in general. So it's just a way for me to to have fun. I don't want to. I stopped giving a damn, well, not to curse here. What people think about my work, or I just want to do something that fulfills me in a way, and it's fun, and it's I don't know. I just wanted to bring that joy back to myself, when I'm animating, when I'm trying to create different solutions for my characters. So that goofiness, it's in a way this part of me that just want to bring joy back to our craft, and also, of course, to me, like having not realistic, but real photos. Usually you expect them to animate in a realistic way, and once you create this contrast between the realistic and the fantasy, and you create something that it's very unusual, it's very captivating as well. So those combinations is something that is it's on the table for
I
my
was
work.
curious because, like you mentioned that now everybody's trying to look like everybody else, like, like man versus machine, like established
Yeah.
like a style in 3D. And like now, I don't know how many companies are doing the same kind of vibe and stuff like that. So I think that's part of like the globalization of motion design and animation in a way. But I was like always like puzzled in my head is like this goofiness you put into your pieces. How do you manage to negotiate those with your clients? Because a lot of
Yes.
the clients, like,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if you work
Mm-hmm.
direct to client or if you have sometimes agencies or companies
Yeah.
or like studios in between.
Mm-hmm.
But like everybody's trying to be so cool and so serious and so
Yeah.
this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And that sometimes like the pieces you put out, to me it's great, but like sometimes go like totally against that. Like the fact of being
Yeah.
cool and serious and blah blah blah. And
Mm-hmm.
so, how do you manage to pour that through the cracks so you don't get like some rep from the company going like, oh no, like this completely like compromises the image of the company.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No, but believe me, of course, I always try to push my clients to their limits. I always try to, when I have to pitch for an idea or something, I always try to go with the most craziest, idea possible. But one thing is, like, because of the body of my work, I totally understand that my work is not for everybody, you know. And I mean, like, when I say that, it's just I'm 100% sure that I'm not gonna do the next launch for a new iPhone or something like that. It's not for Apple. I understand that.
Who knows?
I, as for now, I don't know, you know, but for now, yes. But the good thing is that the clients, they usually approach me because they wanted to create something different, you know. And my work is different. Again, different, it doesn't mean that it's better or worse. It's just different, you know. It's different. It's not for everybody. I understand, for not of all kinds of clients because of this style, but usually these clients, they approach me because they want to go bonkers, they want to go crazy with their launch or something, you know. But sometimes the clients, they want to go crazy, and along the way they realize that this
It's
is
too crazy. That's too crazy.
this was not a good idea, and we have to tone down. And as a professional, of course, I love doing those crazy works, you know. But my mission as a professional is to attend what the client needs, and I ended up not doing only those kinds of projects. Those projects, perhaps, you know, basically those projects are the projects that I put on my website or on Instagram. But I do those serious works as well. You know, I love the aspect of creating, for example, some titles, you know, sequence for TV shows and stuff like that. I love doing that too. And but the characters, for some reason, they get more people's attention, you know. And yeah, I've been very lucky to have clients that support this craziness of my characters, and I love doing that.
I mean, in a way, you find sort of like your niche, and
Yeah,
that's great.
that's
You know,
cool. That's cool.
like you said, like when people come to you, they come because you have this style,
Yeah,
and and I think that already like cuts a lot of the crap in the conversation, because
100%.
it's not like they don't come to you when they don't know what they want. It's like when they
Yes.
come to you, they do know what they want, because otherwise they wouldn't come to you at all, because they will be like too afraid of how this could fireside, you know, like
Yeah. But it's not always sunshines and flowers, you know,
no.
because sometimes the clients, they come, they approach me with this idea. Oh, I want this style. Can you pitch me an idea? And they ended up to doing something completely different. So sometimes they want to see it just to make sure that it's not going to work, you know. And I ended up like, okay, I just spent some time here doing this stuff, this style, and they are not sure if they really want to go. So it's tricky in a way. It's a bless and a curse in a way, you know, working with this style. But yeah,
You define yourself as, I mean, at least on the website,
sure.
as a shameless mixed media artist. Like mixed media, I get it. Why shameless?
Because I have no uh
Is it because of the naked guys?
no, it's because it might be, no, but it's because I don't have, I'm not afraid of trying different stuff, and I'm not afraid to shock people, you know. I just want to, it's all about the idea. If having a naked guy going out there just as a rebellious character, you know, as long as I'm giving the idea, I don't care if my characters are naked or not. I just go for it, you know. So I have no problem in exploring stuff here and there. It's about the result. It's about the final product. So that's yeah. I have no shame of trying different stuff for my projects. You know, I'm not trying to please everyone. I do it especially for myself when I'm doing, of course, personal projects. But when I'm doing for clients, of course, there's a rule that it needs to be followed. But in terms of my exploration, my fulfillment, it's I just want to go, you know, really wild. So I have no fear of exploring further.
Don't you find it kind of like paradoxal
It
that
is.
like is that like you said, like you are personally like someone that is really shy,
Uh-huh.
but then like when you're expressing yourself through the work.
Oh
You
yeah.
have like almost no boundaries.
Maybe that's the way that I work as a human being. That's why I don't know how to define myself. I like to express myself through my art. That's why I don't like putting my picture for example, in my Instagram. You won't see my
Yeah, me
photos or
neither.
anything. Like I don't like to. I like to be known by my work. And not my beautiful face. But like maybe it's where I can truly express myself. It's through my work. Through my craft. So that's a good
Yeah,
point. It's a great point.
I'm saying this because that's something that has been discussed like a lot in the creative circles.
Sure.
The there's a lot of people that are introverts
Yep.
and that have like a hard time finding their place.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's important for them to see and listen uh somebody like you,
No, that's
which
cool.
which let's say you succeeded. When I say you succeeded, yeah, I mean you don't have your private jet. That's not the point. But
Not yet.
I mean you succeeded in the fact that
Yeah. Yeah.
people know you, they know your work, and people come
Uh-huh.
to you for your work.
Uh-huh.
And so it's to me it's important to see that even somebody like you or other artists that are kind of in your
Yeah.
position also struggle with these things.
Yes.
And it's still today, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. No,
Um
I agree 100%. I'm very lucky only to be working with something that I love. I feel very fortunate. I'm very happy with the life that I have. And sometimes, of course, dealing with clients, you have to expose yourself a little bit to try to sell an idea. And sometimes that can be really difficult, but it's part of the game. It's not only, it's an exercise. To me, like being here in front of the camera, talking to you is lovely, but having my face here, it's a little bit scary to me. But I understand that this is one thing that I like doing. I feel like it's especially positive for our work, for our industry, is to getting out of your comfort zone, like so. And that's when you open yourself to explore different medias, to explore different opportunities. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's
yeah, I would even add to that you have to be open. You mentioned like client relationships and
yeah.
how that can be like sometimes difficult, but
Hmm.
you have to be able to do those. Um, you have to be open. You have
Yes.
to be open to difference. You have to be open to a different point of view. You have
Hmm.
to be open to rejection. And
100%.
that rejection is not a rejection of yourself.
No. Yes.
It's a rejection of that particular piece of work in a
Uh-huh.
particular point, like in a certain point of time, because there's like a million reasons that you don't know about
Yes.
that
100%.
that convey to this situation where the guy is going to say, "Sorry, no, we have to change this or that or
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah.
Um, and if you're not open to those things, then you won't grow. You won't like evolve. You will be stuck into this kind of
That's
like
beautiful.
melodic thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Um, and so you were born in Brazil.
Yes.
You went to live in America
Yes.
for work reasons or other reasons?
For mainly for work
For
reasons. Yes. Yes.
okay, and now you're back in Brazil.
I'm back.
Um, I have like I would say similar kind of different story because I had to leave my country and then go back and then leave it again.
Uh-huh.
Um, how that has affected you? Um, because I
Mm-hmm.
always say once you leave through that, you
Yes.
have your ass between two chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in one country, you miss the other, and when you're in the
Yes.
other country, you miss the one you just left.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, like how that has impacted you in the
Oh man.
beginning, in the middle, and today.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's a very scary process. Although I'm coming back to my hometown, home country. And it's still very scary. Like it's because I lived like in US for almost 12 years, 11 years and a half. Uh, but I feel like once you decide to leave your country to a different country, you made the most tough decision and the most tough move of your life, because you're not just saying goodbye to your country, it's saying goodbye to your culture, friends, food, everything that you know. And you go into different, basically a different world. I remember I went to United States to work for a studio. It's an amazing studio with amazing people called Roger. Uh, I, I, I don't know. I think I was learning English for 5 years before, I'm going to the studio, and I was very confident in my English. And I remember when I got there, my first meeting, I couldn't understand a single word what they were saying at the meeting. It was very, very scary. And it feels weird now that I got so used to that industry, to that culture, to getting back again and start to rewind and I'm resetting, you know, I'm resetting to a place that it was familiar to me once, and now it's a little bit odd. I'm getting to this balance that some places, some faces, or vibes here in Brazil feel so natural, but I feel that I miss some aspects from my past life in the United States. If I could create like a combination, that'd be perfect world. But we know that such thing doesn't exist. But it's been uh, it's been fun. But I can tell you this: I feel I'm very happy with the decision that we took, me and my wife as a family. Uh, I feel very inspired because I have a lot of uh, friends here that they are part of the industry as well, and we have like a beautiful uh, artistic scenario here in Brazil. And I don't know, I feel very exciting. It's a very exciting moment for me. Although I'm a little bit shaky, scary, it's exciting. I'm happy.
Were your kids born in Brazil or were they born in the US?
In US.
Okay.
Yeah, for them it's a different game.
So
It's
I was gonna
yeah.
say, if I can share like a small piece of advice
Please
from
do.
somebody that left when he was a kid. So my story is a little bit different. It's like my parents had to flee South America during the dictatorship, and so we were refugees in Europe for a couple of years.
Okay.
Then dictatorship ended, and my parents decided to go back. Um, so I was born in Uruguay. I left to Europe and then went back.
Okay.
And when I went back, that was a shock. Like that was, but it was brutal because
I can imagine.
I would say European codes, or even I would say American codes for kids or youth, compared to our codes in South America, are very, very soft. Like South American can be rough if you're not used to it.
Yes.
And it's not that people are aggressive. It's just like another way of
dealing. Yeah.
of communicating and dealing with stuff. And so I would say, like, just pay attention to them.
100%.
Just keep an eye on how it's going at school and things like that, because I know that I was faced to situations I didn't knew how to handle because I was never confronted to those things before. Even like so it was a couple of rough years, and then I loved it, and now it's part of like my whole identity, and then like sometimes like now it's the other way around. It's like sometimes I'm being too South American, and then Europeans go like, "Ooh, what's going on?"
What's going on? Yeah. No, but 100%. Yeah, because once you leave here, I understand. Yeah, it's a difference. As I was saying, the culture is different. The way that the kids are raised here, the schools are different. and it feels like it's a progression. We're growing like this way, but once you're coming from a different country, and here there's no like a linear path to go. It's just like a big wall here, and you hit the face in a wall, and that's where we need to pay attention to it. But again, we're here like for I would say 3 weeks. They are still waiting for to get started in the school. The school is going to start in February. uh, but we had this conversation with the school. The school it's this school that they're going. They're particular known for this integration, from kids that come from a different country, and kind of have like a smooth transition, to Brazil. So let's see how it goes. But we definitely, this is something that, that's why me and my wife, we thought for, I would say, like 2 to 3 years before we took the decision to come. And my oldest, he's 9, and I feel like we got the gap. If we left to next year, I think it would be impossible, because 10 years he's gonna be like a lot of friends and stuff. So he was not super attached to anyone in particular, which made things a little bit easier. But yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to be this school years for them.
Again, tying this with our industry, and because now we're talking about the kids and stuff like that. But
Yep.
I think it's, nowadays, remote working has facilitated like a lot of things.
Yes.
But still, when people sometimes like decide or like think about like leaving to work abroad,
Local.
I don't think a lot of the times they don't know all the implications
Yes. No.
that brings in, and also like the other way around, like when an artist has done that, sometimes many times, not everybody recognizes
No.
how fucking hard
It is really hard.
it
Man.
is.
Really
Because
hard.
like you said, you leave everything, but
it
also
is really
like
hard.
you land in a place where you know no one,
No one.
and you
Yes.
have to start like from the scratch.
Yes.
Like during Camp Mograph, Joyce Ho from Buck was there, and she mentions like she was living in this country, then she left for Australia, and then from Australia she left to United States. She moved like twice. Like she changed her whole life like twice.
Wow.
And that like flew by the conversation, and nobody really picked a lot on that.
No.
And in my head I was like, guys, you have no idea
how hard it is.
Yeah, how hard.
It
But I
is.
mean, she's amazing because she's so focused on like what she wants to achieve.
That's cool.
She's giving herself the meanings to do it.
She has a goal. Yeah.
Yeah, she has a goal, and so that's why I'm admirative. Not because I had lived something similar, but it's just because knowing what it takes. Every time that somebody tells me like, okay, I went through this, or I'm going to do this, I'm like, you have some serious balls. Because
yes, it's not easy, man. It's not. I can tell. Like when we moved, I had no kids. It was just me and my wife, and it was really hard, man. It was really hard because here we were kind of settled. We had our house here. It was everything was perfect going. But when we decided to move, because you're like, I'm giving the U.S. as a explanation because I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's similar in different countries. But when we went to United States, we had no credit score, which was something really important. If you want to rent something, if you want to buy something, you need to have like a credit score. So it was really hard for us to be able to rent a place, and we ended up like getting a really, really small apartment close to a guy, our neighbor. I'm pretty sure that it was like the real version of the guy from Breaking Bad, So it's hard because you don't know the bad neighborhoods. You don't know like where to live. You don't know where to get food. Man, and not only that, like the health care system was different. Man, it's a lot of bureaucracy stuff that is different, and because you're you had to be under a visa every 3 years. You have to prove yourself, to the country that you deserve to be there. So it was a lot of hassle, man. It was tough. It was really, really tough. I'm not saying bad things about it. It was just really tough for an immigration point of view. I made amazing friends there. It's a beautiful country. I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to live there for so long. But as an immigrant, the beginning was really tough, and you know, I don't want to go in terms of salary here because I'm really friends with the students that I work, but you have to downgrade yourself, because what's going to be the reason that people are going to bring you in from a different country if we are, for example, in Los Angeles, where, if you're going to Starbucks, a guy that makes coffee, he knows after effects. People all over there, they are familiar with motion graphics. So that the industry, it's really big. So what's going to be the reason that they're going to bring people in from different countries? Because we're cheap, and it was really tough, to keep up with the payments and stuff. It was tough, man. It was tough. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity, because that opportunity made me grow, so much. And again, I'm not trash talking anyone. I'm just saying that the
No, man.
beginning
I mean,
is tough. I just wanted to
it,
clear
it's
that out.
it's the reality, and I think
It is.
again, like it's good for people to hear
Yeah.
what it takes, because
Mhm.
I always joke, like every time I want to get inside the US, I mean, again, I have amazing friends over there,
Yes.
but like I'm flying with a European passport,
Mm-hmm.
and they give me already so much shit to get in. I
Yeah.
don't want to even know if I travel with my Uruguayan passport, what is it gonna be? Like, I don't want to know.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and those are conversations we've had also with my wife. Like
Uh-huh.
when she mentioned sometimes, like, yeah, you should go to the US because you will get more opportunities over there. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, for sure. Like, I don't, I don't, that's a certainty. But are you ready to put
Yeah.
up with all the other things that will come with it? Which
Willing to pay
is,
the price. Yeah.
yeah, that there's a price to pay. So the the hours of work, the everything you have to pay, like
Uh-huh.
you mentioned the healthcare system. Like
Yeah.
here in Europe, we're really blessed. You
Yeah.
know,
100%.
um, okay, yeah, we pay a lot of taxes for sure,
Uh-huh.
but then I never have to worry. Like tomorrow, I have cancer.
Uh-huh.
I don't worry if I'm going to be treated or not.
Uh-huh.
See what
You
I
just
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I just go, I get my treatment, and
And that's
and
it.
and that's it.
Yep.
If my daughter has something, she will never get refused. So, um,
Yeah.
so there is a price to
There is
pay.
a price. There is a price. And you're just by yourselves, I remember clearly the other day, not the other day, like it was like a couple of years ago. Me and my wife, we got sick at the same time. We got food poisoning, like city stuff, but we got really, really bad. And we had two kids. We have two kids, and they were fine. And me and my wife, we had no one to leave the kids with, and that also put us in perspective. Say, oh my God, we're fucked because we're here, hugging our toilets, and we have these kids all over full of energy in the house. How are we gonna make through this? It's hard not to have like this, not only family support, but some sort of support, because you're by yourself. It's again, it's hard, man. It's really hard. It's really hard, but yeah, I admire people that gonna go through this. I don't know if today with the energy that I have and the mindset that I have, I would go through this all over again. Maybe not. I don't have the same energy again, but yeah, I paid a price. It was yeah, I had my ups and downs, but today I
Yeah,
survived.
yeah. Um, Going back a little bit to
Sure.
your work. So I'm going to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk. I do not want to talk about AI. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the question might seem connected to it. It is in some sort connected to it.
Go for
But
it.
I don't want this to become like a rant about AI because there's been too much about it.
Yes.
But you are a mixed media artist.
I am.
And you kit bash with stuff that you borrow here and there. With all this technology emergence lately happening, there's been a lot of there's been voices saying that what this technology immersion does is kind of like it will equate in some way to what you do.
Yep.
And I was curious, how do you feel about that? Because like somebody that paints has a different relationship to this.
Yes.
Somebody that I don't know, models text or something in 3D has a different relationship. But from the get-go, your animation work is kit bashing elements. And so I wanted to have your perspective on this.
No, I agree with you. The only thing is that the way that I source my images are different from the AI. For example, I shot my stuff. I have my studio, have my camera. If I want something more specific, I go to like stock photos or something. I buy images. I pay to get those rights, because again, if I'm working with a client, I'm not just going to go and Google like a certain image and I'm just going to put in back my work. No, I buy those images and I source very carefully those images. And with the AI,
let's not use the word too much if you don't mind.
Let's not use. No, I don't mind. But with this Skynet, let's say it's a different game. There's again a lot of people speaks too much about it. It's there's a bunch of uncertainty involving this technology. I don't know, man. It's I like the aspect of using this technology mostly for tool purposes, like not to generate images, generating images, it's like it's hard for me to say because I don't want to offend anyone. I just want to be careful what I'm saying, but I feel like that's the easiest way. I'm gonna use a term in Brazil. I know you told me not to curse, but I have to say this.
You can.
You can cut it off if you want. But creating artwork with AI is the same thing to jerk off with someone else's dick. You know what I'm saying?
That's great.
And,
that's great.
Yeah, so it's that's my point of view. That's
no, that was awesome. I wasn't expecting that one at all.
It's basically that's what I mean. But for tool wise, I feel like we have a bunch of cool stuff out there that helps us to speed up the process, and like in terms of the painful things that I, for example, had to deal in the past, like cutting images in Photoshop. It's so much easier now, so it saves me a lot of time. But in terms of generating the content, for me, it's something that I don't appreciate.
There's two things I always say when we have these conversations. And first of all is, get off of me all the, like you said, the tedious tasks that I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, can you do roto for me, please?
Yes.
Can you do green key for me? Please do. Like,
I
take it all.
Yes. Because I want to spend more time in the creative phase.
Can you like pre-rig a thing so then I can weight it like I want and everything?
Yes.
Just do it. Take into your hands all the technical part, boring, tedious, and let me, like you said, have fun. Let me just have my play field where I can just like toy with these things and like have fun. But like, to me, the segment that is like trying to generate art, and I would say between quotes, it's trying to generate images.
And not just
that's taking the fun part from us.
Yes. And I don't know if you have the same feeling, but to me, it feels those images, they feel soulless. You know, there's no soul, there's no shine to those images. They all kind of look dead in a way. I don't know if you saw that Coca-Cola commercial, you know, that they put out in a for Christmas, you know. That was the most horrible thing that I ever seen, like for a Christmas campaign, especially, you know, like because you're talking about people, you're talking about soul. I don't know, you know, it's not for me. I don't want to say that you or this person, that person cannot use that. It's not for me to set boundaries here, but it's not for me. I feel like it's I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. I don't like it.
No, we got that. And what I always say also is like, it's not because you go to the restaurant and you order what you want in your dish that suddenly you become the chef.
Yes.
So
that's it.
Now, to put things into perspective, like I have friends that are like experimenting with it, you know, and they are having fun.
Yep.
And they are putting out there, like, I would say, interesting things, you know, but then again, they're not like selling that as work.
Yes, there's nothing wrong about exploring or about. I feel like it's part of our duties to explore this and to understand how it works. You know, I feel like we need to be part of this and see how it works. But again, nowadays there are people like creating children's book and, you know, creating posters and creating stuff and just selling out. Okay, they can do whatever they want, but it's not art for me. You know, it's not like it's a shortcut. It's yeah.
The process is as important as the end of the journey. You know, like to say you decided to do this piece and the whole process you went through to create it is what makes it valuable.
100%. Yes.
To me. And like you said, I'm not like criticizing what these people do. Not at all. It's like, again, like I say, there's nothing on the contrary. You have to explore.
Yep.
You have to. And again, like for some things, it has saved me like tremendous time. And like you said, cutting images, like stuff that before like would take me hours. Now I just do a mask and then 30 seconds and it's done. It's almost perfect. Like, thank you for that.
Yep.
But then writing down, make me an art book like Miyazaki.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. Yes.
You know, like, or all these scenes where people are redoing, like somebody took Akira, which is like a masterpiece of anime.
A masterpiece.
And they made it vertical.
Oh, geez. Really?
To watch it like on a cell phone.
On a cell phone.
And in my head, I was like, why? Like, or people are changing like all these things into like for movies, and there's all these people like becoming crazy because like, do you know there's something called like photography and lighting? It's like there's a crew of more than like 600 people that like died working on this movie for a year to make it look like it looks. Like, what makes you believe that suddenly you are the Mozart of whatever it is that you're gonna improve it? You're gonna make it better.
Yes, make it better. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if you saw, like, the other day I was watching. You brought out Akira. I was watching the making of. Like all the backgrounds, they were like hand painted. You know, like painting like little windows by little windows, all paint. Man, that was. I don't know, man. It's a huge amount of work to put into that, you know, and the collective that brought that animation to life. It was not like by one person or this. It's a collective. It's a bunch of people, and now yeah, I have this thing here. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy.
What I find like amazing about Akira is that Otomo,
Mm-hmm.
he's like somewhat disappointed how it turned out. Like it's not good enough for him. Like he literally says like we had this amount of money for like
Uh-huh.
the first quarter of the production,
Uh-huh.
but then we kind of like run out of money, so we had to kind of like
Cuts the things
yeah
out.
yeah
Yeah, yeah, the
you know
quality stuff. Yeah.
and I watched the thing and I was like, dude, this thing is incredible.
This it's
But for
crazy.
this guy, it's like and
Yeah.
it's like
But
could have been
it's the artist, man. It's the artist, you know, like it's not good enough for us, you know, like when we're creating something, sometimes we just have to let it go because it's not going to be 100% perfect.
Did you saw The Boy and the Heron from Miyazaki?
I know, but I haven't seen.
Okay, so watch it when you can.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There's a crowd scene.
Uh-huh.
Um, that only scene took more than a year. Just that shot took more than a year or 1 or 2 years. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's 1 or 2 years that it took because it's like a crowd of people moving and in like mixing and everything. And so
How
there's
crazy that is.
wherever you look at it, it's just so many details moving and perfectly that you go like, Jesus, man, like
What I'm doing in this industry,
yeah,
I can do this.
what
It's crazy.
then you look at your screen and what you're doing, you're like, well, okay, here
Man.
we go.
Those things, you know, these things are those things that I was talking about, and like having this and get inspired by it, you know, like I know there was a bunch of thinking behind of that, and how, just for me to understand how they were able to come up with a solution for that, you know, it's what keeps me in this field, you know, like just trying to find answers, you know. Sometimes the answer is simple. You just have to sit down and bleed, and that's it. And it's amazing. It's the pure art form. I love it.
You know that shit, I lost my train. Oh yeah, no, I got it back. Like just touch basing really quickly when we were talking about Akira
Yep.
and like Otomo and Miyazaki and all these other people. Ryan Summers has a theory, and he
Okay.
says like all those guys is generational talent. He sa-
Oh, I
he
see.
he says like they come from a batch of people
Uh-huh.
that came out from it like at a certain time,
Yep.
and that like I don't know, there's like a whole level of thing like Ghost in the Shell. Like here we're talking purely anime, but like
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
there's such a in that era there's such a huge amount of like
Yes.
incredible work. And I think also tying back to something you said in the early beginning of the call is like at that time that market was kind of like exploding,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
so there was like a very strong cultural expansion from Japan into the world,
Yes.
and so these people were kind of like unleashed.
They were.
There was like no boundaries.
They were.
You could kind of like do whatever, because you look at those and some of that stuff is also like
No,
very dark or
it's
touch bases on the
incredible.
human aspects, and it ties with the Japanese culture about like
Yeah.
introspection and it's like the whole thing is very
Yeah.
very rich, and as time passes by and gets like normalized and globalized and stuff, then people start like closing the knobs that allowed
Yeah.
you to move as freely as you could.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. And
and
if, and I feel like the technology is there's an aspect there's a again because of today with the tools that we have. I feel like it's easier to put out content, you know, and at that time
don't call it content, please.
no content, because that was something else.
Yeah,
That
well,
was
that was
cinema.
art. That
That
was art.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, because that was handmade, you know. There was a lot of people like interesting spending, like as you said, like 2 years doing like a crowd scene or doing like painting like those little windows, you know, to create like the backgrounds for Akira or things like that. It was pure magic, you know. It was every frame is an artwork for me, and that in this particular generation gap that we're talking about, it was very special.
Even like to me, even, and not only talking about anime in particular here, but like
Mhm.
uh in the whole animation segments, like some of those pieces to me are still like, to me, the what still sets the level,
Uh-huh.
what still sets the bar, like this is awesome. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything you do under it is going to be okay, but
Okay. Yep.
it's not going to be that awesome.
Uh-huh.
Um, and and I don't know, man. It's just again, like tying this into our world, and to these boundaries. How do you feel about those boundaries? I mean, and this question is not only from a creative aspect,
Yep.
but also from, like, I would say, an expression
Mm-hmm.
aspect, and from an purely budgetary aspect.
Mm-hmm. That's what you just said, man. People, they just want a cash return, and because of that, they want to go sometimes the majority of the time with the safest direction. Just want to go with okay, this works. That, like, for example, Adidas put out this commercial, and Nike saw the commercial and said, okay, that works. Let's do something similar. Just to because that is working. They're not willing to risk their money and try to create something awesome. They want to spend less money. Like these days, people are shrinking the budget for everything now, and they want a massive results, and especially time wise, they do as because they don't want to spend a lot of money. We don't have like the same deadline that we used to have in the past, and that timeline to me, it was really important because it was the time that we had the opportunity to explore and to try different techniques, to try something new instead of just okay, uh, should we use these as a reference? No, I just want you to copy exactly this, because it's the formula, it's already there. So I don't know, it makes the whole industry gets a little lazier because of that. But I'm saying industry. I'm not saying the people who do the craft, because I understand it. I'm pretty sure that people who do the craft as us, we want to do different stuff. We want to do something that we believe in. But the clients, they have this mindset these days, and they just want to, again, play safe. Let's go with something that is working. Let's not spend money here, and that's it. And I feel like that affects our industry tremendously.
Yeah, like I heard something interesting the other day, and they were talking. This go a little bit into economics, but they were talking how, I'm going to simplify very, very heavily here the
Sure.
thing, but how in the beginning, like capitalism, in a way, was like selfishly the baker wanted to make the best bread, and because he wants to sell bread more than the others,
Yep.
so he makes a very, very good bread, and then the butcher wants to sell the best meat, and
Uh-huh.
so selfishly, because he wants to sell more meat and then make more money,
Yep.
and the farmer like wants to sell the best like vegetables,
Uh-huh.
and so us as customers, what we get is the best sandwich, because we have the best salad, the best meat, and the best bread, and so everything tastes great.
Amazing. Yeah.
So there was this like projection of like um making more money because your product is better.
Uh-huh.
And then there's like in the 80s there was like a paradigm shift,
Uh-huh.
where it became, how much profit can we make between the boundaries of legality? And so it doesn't become anymore, I want to make the best product.
Yeah.
It becomes, I want to offload as much money as I can to shareholders and stock and stuff like that. And to the detriment of the customer in the end,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and everything becomes like a risk assessment and stuff like that. But what happens is that, of course, like if you compare, like when the crisis hit in the 30s, every company was broke. And I think Kellogg's or Nestle, I don't know which one of the two, was only one of the companies that like kept investing in communication, in advertising and stuff like that. And that, not only that, but that's part of what led us to become the brand they are today, because they didn't cut off those things. But like nowadays, you can have a product that's like heavily successful, and just to maximize your profit, what you do is like you fire half of your team.
Yes.
And we've seen that, like
Yep.
in studios, mainly in VFX, in game studios too. And I really love recently, after season 2 of Arcane. Did you watch Arcane?
Oh my god, beautiful show! Yes,
which is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know which dumbass CEO from another media conglomerate, when they announced how much the show cost, he was like, "Oh yeah, but this is because like originally they're a game studio, and they are totally inexperienced into these things, and we would know how to do it cheaper."
Oh man!
And so yeah, so he launched into this rant, and the head of like one of the head creators of Riot Games, Ed Fortiche, replied saying like, "No, that's not the problem. The problem is there's no problem. It's like we pay our artists how they should be paid properly.
Yes,
that's why the show costed what it cost."
Yeah.
So in a very polite way, it was like, "Shut the fuck up! Like
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah,
you were exploiting people, and we're just doing cool shit and having fun with it."
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and you know, like connecting this with what you said earlier about having to travel and lower your rates because you wanted to be part of it, otherwise you would be left out and stuff like that. That's something that's like, to me, happening more and more.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for sensitive beings, like creatives, it can be really, really, really tough.
Oh my god, super tough. Yeah.
And I do think that, like, as a community, we should push back on that.
Yeah.
And I know work has been scarce now. Like, I know, like, 2024 was hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know how 2025 is going to be. But like the racing to the bottom is not going to be the solution.
No, I agree with you. But how do you think we could push back? You know, like the big industry. It's we should have an answer for that, because I understand that, because it's just because I've been thinking about that like for a long time, and it's because our industry it's very big. You know, no matter how much we try to push back, there's always someone that will be willing to take that spot and be working under horrible circumstances just to be part of the industry. You know what I'm saying? It's hard.
I totally know. Like, the film industry has been ridden with this problem for now a very, very long time. I don't have an answer, because I mean, the answer I could get is like, as a community, we have to push back.
I think so. Yeah.
But I'm convinced also that, if like people come to you for a reason, because you have this skill or this craft, or you can build up a team that can output these things and everything, that has a price. And sometimes I wonder, is it like, wouldn't it be like more hassle if I take the job like at a lower thing? Because in the end, I'm gonna be frustrated. I'm not gonna be outputting the best quality work I'm capable of. This is all very, of course, there's an infinite shades of gray. Like,
Yeah.
Um, and I won't be happy with the money I'm going to be getting for this.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about this very plainly. We discussed it with Joe Pilger in like in another podcast. Like,
Uh-huh.
because as creative, we never talk really much about money.
No, we don't talk. We just talk about that. Yeah, and it feels like it's wrong to talk about money for us.
It's kind of like
Maybe.
shady, and then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
in other like aspects of like in other like areas, like
Uh-huh.
everybody talk about money, because that's, I mean, if you have it, it happens, and if you don't have it, well, it's not gonna happen.
No money, no honey. Yeah, no honey, no money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but and this is something that I wanna ask you. It's kind of part of the same topic that we're talking right now, but it's a little bit different. What's your feelings about pitching?
So first, I would say I really like pitching.
Okay.
I really like pitching because it's kind of like this space where
Uh-huh.
you're allowed to explore every idea.
Uh-huh.
You can come up with the most silly things and just combine them and present them, and everything's like everything is allowed during the
Uh-huh.
pitching phase.
Yeah.
Now, there's paid pitching and
Yes.
there's unpaid pitching.
Uh-huh.
And so I would say unpaid pitching, fine. But all the IP that is produced during the pitching phase belongs to me until we sign a contract.
Uh-huh.
So I'm willing to put the time to come with some great ideas.
Yeah.
But if you decide to go with somebody else, those ideas are mine and you're not allowed to use them.
Uh-huh.
And not even now, not tomorrow, not in a year. Doesn't
In
matter.
your yeah.
Now, if it's paid pitching and I'm being paid for the time I'm doing it, then it's fine, because that's
fine.
part of the deal. I'm being paid for what I'm being paid for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the work. They like it, great. They decide to go another way, fine by me.
It's fine.
Like it's like a fair trade.
Yeah.
But like where pitching, like, to me, causes like struggle is when it's unpaid, and on top of that, then you find out they went with another studio, and then your ideas are still in there.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes shitty.
I agree. But how often do you get like a paid pitching? It's not that often that you're offered by like to pitch for like to be in a paid pitching.
Yeah, I would say, like, lately when I have pitched, the contract was already signed, and we were mostly like pitching which idea we would go.
Oh, okay. So we were like already.
So that was kind of like okay.
That's cool.
But like everybody else, I've had a couple times where you pitch, they say like, oh no, we go with blah blah blah, and then half, maybe not the whole concept or the whole idea as you propose are there, but like half of it is kind of like mixed. Like they were like, oh, you know what, let's spice it up with what this guy did. And that's where, like, yeah, I've just sent an email to the agency or to the client saying like, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say it. Like, you're not burning a bridge. It's not like you're insulting them or like outing them on social media. It's just writing very politely, like saying, hey, I did this for you. The terms were these, and you're kind of like not respecting those terms. And please know that this bothers me a little bit. So, I think I'm not talking about agencies, because agencies are another species. But like the end client, they are not, most of them are not acquainted with the rules in our world.
They don't understand. Yeah.
And that's why I hate also the expression like we have to educate the client.
Yeah. Oh my God. I use that.
I hate it because it's kind of like paternalistic. Like, it implies that the client is an idiot when like the client is not. Like, the client has a business. It has like other things to attend.
Yep.
And yes, some clients are very participative. They're very open. They're very cool. Some others are different.
Yep.
But they know a shit ton of stuff that you don't know. So I mean, so I'm not generally when that happens, I don't take accountable the end client.
Uh-huh.
I mostly take accountable the production company or
Yep.
the agency, because if the client says, hey, why not mix these? The agency could say, well, we can't because that was done by another artist. These are the terms. And if we want to include those ideas, then he should get a compensation for what he did. That to me is the right way to communicate that.
But that
And then the
doesn't
client
happen
can,
often.
yeah, and the client can say like, okay, well then how much? Okay, let's go. Or he can say like, well, you know what? I don't want to spend any more money, so let's do with the ideas we have. Which
Which is
every time
fine.
I had which is normal, and which every time I had a conversation with clients where the scope starts creeping in,
Uh-huh.
and they start asking like all this stuff, and you go like, well, you know that this is off budget. So if you want all these extra things or reviews or stuff, we can do them, but it will cost you extra.
Yep.
And that's easy math. It's like, how much? This. Okay, let's go. Or,
No.
let's stay with what we have and we will find a solution.
Yeah.
And that's cool too.
Yeah. 100%. I feel like
But I don't know what's your experience.
No, I agree. And this part, I agree 100% with you. I just feel like sometimes I hate pitching, to be honest with you, because pitching is to me it's a bit of a lottery, because sometimes it's hard, especially when you're pitching through an agency, and there's so many people involved, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so it's hard for each one really understand what the needs of the clients are. And not always the best pitching, like when I mean best pitching is like the most high-end quality wise pitching is going to win. It's the one that speaks mostly with the client. So that's what I think it's kind of hard. I feel like we're all professionals, like we're all grown ups, and we know what our tasks are. We know our capabilities. So I feel like it would be so much easier if the agency goes to a specific artist. Okay, the client wants to do this in 3D. So we have these couple of companies here. Which one do you think it could be better for you clients? And the clients say, okay, this A. I'm pretty sure the A will be able to nail down the direction that the client wants to, I don't know. I feel like it's, of course, it's important. It's part of the game. You have to pitch to get projects, But in a way, sometimes I feel like it's a waste of time once you're pitching to get a project. But you can pitch once you are in a project already, and you can pitch the area. So I have mixed feelings with that. I just want to have like your perspective, because I always like to getting the perspective from a different artist about pitching. It's a very complex topic, I know.
But what you mentioned there, like from what you're saying, to me, the problem is not pitching. The problem is the communication.
Also, yeah, which is hard. Yeah.
So, like I think you were talking about the fact of not having anymore that time to experiment. And to kind of like, so to me, pitching can be a phase where you experiment, because you are toying with all these ideas and all these things, and you mock up stuff, and so it is an exploration phase that can be
an exploration phase.
But like what's failing there is just that, and this happens to me quite often with agencies.
Yeah,
is that there's like a culture of fear, and so sometimes like a lot of the stuff is not even proposed because they are afraid of how the client will react, or they would not dare to defend some stuff because they're just yes men or yes women or yes whatever. And so to me, those are maybe sometimes the things that make pitching like hell.
Yeah,
it's not that the pitching phase in itself is bad. It's just that the people like conducting it or like handling some endpoints of it are not like handling that properly. And so like, for example, when I do pitch, I always like to, if I cannot present myself to the client, the idea, I can be a fly in the wall. I can just be there listening and not saying anything. And then, at least be able to debrief and go like, yeah, well, like maybe this we can defend more this or more that, and I think it's always good. Like everybody does it anyway. We have multiple options to present to the client. So the client has like the version, let's say, we believe in, which is like maybe bolder. And then we have like a more safe idea in case the client, like you say, they came to you because they wanted something weird and crazy. And then suddenly they go like, well, this is a little bit too crazy for me. and you can go like, well, no worries. We have this version that is like toned down and this and that. And then everybody's happy. So all those tools are there and we've been using them. It's just that we have to be, have the guts to just present the stuff and argument it, explaining your ideas, articulate those to the client properly. Like I said, to me, the clients are not stupid. So
no, they're not stupid. Yeah.
They will get it. They will go like, okay, I get what you mean. I had that like recently on a whole set of boards I did that they were not used in the end. And the client said like, you know what, like these are like incredible. We love them. But like the decision maker now like feels that this is better for the thing. And who am I to say like no? I know. And so they're not saying to me suddenly. They didn't went from I like it to I hate it. No, they were like we're sorry.
Yeah,
these are amazing. We know we pushed into this direction, but in the end, we feel it has to go into that direction, and that's fine.
No, that's fine. That's 100% fine. I feel like I stopped. I understand that. I stopped suffering. A long time ago when I lose a pitch, because often we lose way more than we win pitches. It's again, it's part of the game. It's that's why I feel like it's a lottery. I just feel like there should be a better way that we could sell our ideas to clients. Like to me, at least, like last year, to me, I had the majority, I would say like 90% of the pitches were not paid pitches, and I feel like they're very time consuming, because they're expecting you to put like a lot of work in this specific time, and you have to pay the bills. And I just wanted these to be more like in a clever process, and not just to try to prove myself or to prove my idea for this client or that client for free. But again, I understand that some clients, they do like paid pitching. I just didn't have this experience last year, and I was not very often that I get these opportunities to do like paid pitchings. So, and again, these I feel like it's part of like I'm just bringing this up because I feel like again this is part of our industry, because we're very accepted to be working for free to try to prove an idea to a client and create this concept for a client. And I wish you could have like a better way that we can do this differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, to be honest.
I mean, neither. Yes.
And because it happens at so many levels. Like even I attended like a workshop from Guillermo del Toro. And somebody was like asking him. It was his first like very big Hollywood production. And it was like, yeah. And so during the workshop, he mentioned like all he had to go through in Mexico to like, like grow and do bigger movies and stuff like that. Yeah. And then he gets his like first like big production at the time. And then somebody in the crowd said like, yeah, so you made it. And he laughed. It's like, he's like, what? You think I made it? It's like, that movie almost killed me.
Yes.
Like, I had to fight with the corporate, like the vision of the studios every day. After I had finished like filming during the day, I was in these like 4-hour, 5-hour meetings fighting for the most ridiculous things. Like
Yes.
your hero cannot wear glasses. Why? Because heroes, like the main character, like cannot wear, like they don't wear glasses. Who said
Oh
that?
man.
And then and and he can, like, and of course, like skin color and all, like a ton of other things. And then he says,
Yeah.
and he said, like, I arrived to the first day of filming at 6 a.m. My meeting had finished at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. So I hadn't slept at all. And I arrived like a maniac, screaming, he's going to wear glasses. He's going to wear glasses, because that was his win. And so if those things happen at those levels,
Yeah.
every fucking day, like, imagine for us, like,
Imagine for us.
and I mean, you work mostly with the US market now, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
Same for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a market that pitches for everything.
For everything.
You want to do subtitles? You have to pitch for it.
You have to pitch
Like,
for it.
I mean,
Yes.
there's no 100 ways of doing subtitles. You're not going to be super creative with subtitles. So
No.
how do you pitch subtitles? You know, I've seen pitches for like stuff that to me would seem absurd, but for them it's like totally normal. It's like, we pitch for every segment of the thing is going to be pitched. I was like, wow, that's so much time lost into, like,
much time.
do we take the subtitle with the little, or do we take the subtitle with the little,
the pixel fuckers
projected?
Yeah.
I don't know, yellow or like yellow.
Like yellow.
It's like all those things. I'm like, Jesus, man. Like, but
yeah.
But it is what it is.
It's part of the game. Yeah. Sometimes maybe it's because I work alone for so much time. I need to complain about something, and that because I've been getting this. It's not. It's, to be honest. Yeah, that's the most frustrating part for me in the industry. You know, like the free pitchings. And you put so much work into them. You know, there's some of those you really want to get it, and you see, okay, I don't get it. You know, and again, I understand it's part of the game. I understand that it's not like the best one. It's not about being bad or good. It's the one that speaks mostly with the client. But to me, it's, I don't know, man. The idea of putting so much time, so much free time to try to sell something that you think you can nail, it's weird. You know, it's weird. It doesn't make me happy. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me trying to complain about some Bay Area. I don't know.
You know, sometimes, like, something I say to juniors, and I'm not going to teach you anything to you, because you've been in this like as long as I've been.
But it's always time to learn, man.
It's that with the years, like before, I would get like excited and launch into all these ideas and then output stuff and everything. And now, like, I really listen to the client. But when I say listen, it's not like just we want a video with this and that. It's just like I really listen what they want. And then when I pitch, I try to of course I have all my excitement and ideas and stuff. But sometimes, like, you know how they say, kill your darlings?
Yes.
You know, sometimes I like, very often I kill my darlings because I would love to do that thing. But I know that if I do that thing, I'm going to lose the client, because that's like deeply in him. That's not what he wants. But he was really clear to what he wants, And so, like you said, we're professionals and we have to deliver what we are requested. And so I'm trying within the boundaries of what the client is asking to have as much fun as I can have.
Yeah.
But as soon as the fun goes overboard and it's a shame to say it, but like starts like getting into the range where the client is going to start going like, I don't understand this thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Then I know it's a dangerous game.
It is.
And so, yeah, some artists can go crazy and they will follow them anyway because they're, I would say, like, well known, or they have credo or whatever. But I don't have any of those things. So
yeah,
I have to be
No, I
careful,
agree.
man.
No, yeah, I agree with you. And again, when I'm pitching, I have no ego involved.
Yeah, no ego.
Again, because I understand that we're working in favor of the client's idea. I feel like it's yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the idea of the lottery. It's hard, even if you're listening what the client says. You're taking through your perspective. Sometimes, and often that happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you, but the middleman, the agency, is the one who speaks and to try to get the client's idea to you. And as you said, sometimes they are afraid to express not only our ideas to them, but some of their ideas to from the client's ideas to us. And because of they are trying to avoid creating this bad vibe with the client, they are kind of hiding some important information, and we're trying to guess. Trying to. I feel like they're trying to guess, and spending so much time doing something again for free, and something that you're not 100% sure that it's going to land with the client because you're not fully on board or you don't believe what the agency is saying to you. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like a little bit of I don't know. It's a waste of time for me, but again, I also understand that it's part of the game. We need to be on board of that in order to get project and stuff like that. But
It's the illusion of control.
it's the illusion of control. Maybe that's it.
Is having the illusion that like playing like that is gonna get you in a safe pace for the
Yeah.
safe spot with the client.
Yeah.
Which is a total illusion. And
Yeah.
I think that again, like if you find the right person to talk to with the client, like the end client,
Yep.
and you get to ask them questions,
Mm-hmm.
like just talk and not be afraid of like, I cannot ask this or I cannot ask that.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a professional, so you're going to be educated. You're going to articulate your thoughts. But I think it's important to be able to like go to the bottom of things to
Mm-hmm.
again like understand and answer as best as possible
100%.
the
Yes.
client. And I think that a company, when they hire a creative to take care of a pitch phase or the development project, that creative needs to be involved in the conversations happening
Yeah.
about the project or the pitching or the
Yeah.
whatever it is, because then the creative has all the elements, all the cards in his hands to, through his own lens,
Mm-hmm.
answer all the requests or the expectations from the end client.
Yeah.
But again, communication, egos,
Yep.
a lot of
Yep.
things play in there. And
Play there.
and to be honest, like I've worked at different levels of, I would say, of the industry, and the higher you go, those problems still exist.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard different points of view,
Mm-hmm.
but that's my experience.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Ariel, I'm gonna slowly land the plane.
Okay.
So
Let's do it.
we can go back to our lives. And we talked about the past, we talked about the present.
Sure.
What how do you feel about the future now?
The future.
And this is not, you can answer however you want.
Yeah.
This is a question. This is a question on different levels. So there's your personal level, of course.
Sure.
And then there's like how you feel about life in general.
Okay. Life it's amazing right now. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be in Brazil. Very happy to be working in this industry. I'm really happy, man. For the future, it's really tough to predict, but I just hope that we still can have fun we still can have the same joy of waking up every morning and animating something or do some cool design, uh, and not just putting prompts in there, and I just hope we can be able to keep creating, uh, that's my goal. That's what I love doing. I love being in the box. I love doing my stuff, and I just hope I can keep doing that in the future.
Um, yeah, I want to. Sorry, I want you to dig a little bit more. That
I
that
can
that
do it. Yeah.
that was a little bit too on the
Okay.
surface, if you want.
Okay. I can do it. You mean like let's go for the industry? Do you want to dive into the industry? Okay, let's do it to the industry. So okay. Uh, I believe that we're gonna have like some different tools. That's for sure. Things that we're still trying to figure out things here and there. Uh, I truly hope that we can have an After Effects version that really works well, and that we don't need to have like a lot of plugins and stuff. Again, like Photoshop is great for me. It's perfect now with all those little tools that speed up the process. I wish we could have like the same stuff in After Effects. But in terms of the industry, I truly hope that we can keep, we can get together again, because I feel like the industry is split, in this, in those couple of years back. I feel like we're not as strong as a collective as we used to be, and I feel like that I wish that this could be just a phase, and that we're just trying to figure out the moment that we're living in with the amount of technology, amount of stuff that for sure scares us. But I feel like we can come back as a collective, come back as a community, super strong, because if we're not being, you know, together, like Skynet's gonna do us, But I feel like we just need to be, to be strong, to share ideas, to be more open to conversations like these, and that we can have like more podcasts, more festivals, more stuff that it's mainly towards our industry, because I feel like we should be talking more and not just be in our own little space doing our stuff quietly.
Yeah, like part of the idea of this podcast was to share something meaningful. Like I think that, like I've already said this in the previous episodes, like there's enough tutorials, there's enough content on YouTube how to do like a wiggle expression. I don't want to do more of that. Like the idea behind all of this is to people get to know not the persona, but the person. And like this is a universal topic, like how people that are like worlds apart think they have everything that separates them. Sorry, and when in fact when they get to kind of like talk, they realize they have so much in common, and then as humans we have so much like aspirations that like are like going into the same stream of things. And it's also to get people to feel less lonely. Like you mentioned, like you work alone, I work a lot alone, like a lot of us work alone or remotely or whatever it is. And like again, this format is not popular. Like YouTube hates this format. It's too long. I don't curse enough. I'm not like, outrage enough. I don't use like titles that are like the doomsday of motion design. And so certainly this is not good for the engagement, but that's not the point of it. The point of it is like, take your time to listen to it. And if it's too long, pause it, you come back to it later,
Yeah.
or maybe you're working and you put it into the back, and like it's something that like stays in the back of your head, and you go and suddenly you pause and you go like, oh,
Yeah.
you're like, it's
It's
just
not only me,
yeah,
that's happening.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a way
Yeah.
of connecting,
I
and
agree.
again, like super important to me to show that people like you, like other people that had as guests into the podcast, when
Mm-hmm.
they're being vulnerable,
Yeah.
um, to me, it's like super important that you shared like how much hardship you went through when you were in the US, when you landed into US, because
Uh-huh.
everything looks shiny when you look at it from a website, or like
Yeah,
the
man.
conference that you gave or stuff like that. Like, oh man, like this dude is rocking it. Like he's has everything for himself.
Dude.
And in fact, and you go like, man,
Yeah.
you have no idea.
I have no idea. I have really, and I wish we could talk a little bit more about, not only us, but like the industry, because we don't talk, as you said, we don't talk about money. We don't talk about mental health, in our industry. I got severe anxiety living in a different country, so that was something that affected me really hard. And the people, they don't know that, and it's not a shame to talk, because sometimes in our work it's hard to, especially when you were starting, you're young, it's hard to separate the art and the business. And and as you said, sometimes when you get rejected, it's not something personal, it's just something that it's not aligned with the client, but we take sometimes things really personal, and it's hard to separate. So that leads to a lot of depression, anxiety, and we don't talk about that, like getting underpaid and stuff like that. Gets us to question ourselves: Are we? Am I doing the right thing to be here? Should I be I don't know, a doctor or something? Because I'm doing what I love, but I'm not getting there. So, and things like that. I feel like it should be part of our conversation. Because we're all in the same boat. We're you know thriving to get somewhere. You know.
Yeah, and something I would like to, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I
Mm-hmm.
have no real leverage in the industry, but I would love to push like underrepresented talent
Mm-hmm.
upwards, because that is something that I've suffered from a lot in my years of
Mm-hmm.
work, is like not being seen,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I think it was like a comedian recently that I heard on a podcast, like nothing to do with art or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, nowadays, it's not how good at your craft you are, it's how good at the internet you are.
Yes.
And he says, and like
Yep.
he goes in this whole story telling how like he was invited by his wife to a concert of like unknown bands.
Uh-huh.
And he said, like, for the time I was there, I saw the most incredible bands I've listened to in years. Like they were so on the top of their level. Like
Yeah.
everybody, the singer, the musicians, like everything was so blew my mind.
Yep.
And then he was like, okay, these guys must be super well known,
But they're not.
and they're not.
Yeah.
And somebody told us like, no, they're like, some of those bands are struggling.
Yep.
They're struggling to be able to live from what they do.
To break
And
through.
he was
Yeah.
like, but how is it possible that like somebody that can barely sing is like making millions? And then like these
Yep.
guys are like just the Mozarts of whatever they are doing, and nobody's paying attention.
100%. Yep.
And and it goes deep in a lot of different aspects,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if that like is part of our like also curse, like
Maybe. Yeah.
of not being, maybe, I mean, for some of us, not being
Mhm.
good enough at the internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I suck at it. Totally. I'm terrible.
Yeah. I
Like,
try to keep up, but I gave up a long time ago. I decided I'm not a content creator. I'm an artist. I like being behind a computer doing my stuff. But I know a lot of people doing something similar to what I do, and they have like a bunch of, I don't know, way more followers than I have. And I don't count my,
Oh yeah, but
yeah, you
I
know,
wasn't
it's,
talking about I wasn't talking about followers per se.
I
Like
know, but it's
who
more
cares? It's more like
visibility, yeah, I
how it
know what you're
brings you
saying.
back work.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
the way you market yourself, like the way you outreach, the
Hmm.
all those things that most of us hate doing.
It's hard, man. It's really
It's
hard.
like I said,
It's
I'd
really
rather
hard.
be by hands like into the thing and
Yeah.
instead of like going like hey, I'm gonna joke on this because I cannot see it anymore in lives like I'm a After Effects ninja and I'm like like kill me now
Man,
please.
I'm 41. I can't do that anymore. I agree with you, man. Yeah, but it is what it is. It's part of our one of our existential crisis, I would say, as an artist. To being seen. I just want my work, my art to be seen. I just want to create and press render for myself. Only want to share with the world and want this. I want to have like a feedback, and I want to have like a positive feedback. I want to engage. I want to be part of something bigger, and maybe that's not who we are. We're motion graphics designers, and we're just doing stuff for clients, having fun in the middle, getting paid, and that's it. And that's good
Yeah,
enough, you know?
to be honest, I'm at this stage of my life where I don't care about prestige anymore. I just want to make I
Yeah,
just want
yeah.
to make a decent living,
That's it.
having fun with what I'm doing, and that's it.
That's it.
It's
Perfect.
and
That's good enough.
and that's okay. Like
That's okay.
some people want honor and prestige, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine too.
That's
But I
fine too.
mean, it's I don't know you, but like I think when you have kids and other things happens into your life, like that
Yeah.
changes your perspective of where some priorities go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know that if you want prestige, again,
Yeah.
those are sacrifices you will have to do.
Yeah. No, I'm on
Um,
the same boat, man. I gave up like I don't judge people's work anymore. I was invited to judge like in festivals and stuff like that. I don't think it's part of me to say that this is better than this project is better than the other project. I don't judge projects anymore. Festivals, I don't like going, for speakings and stuff like that because again, I'm a very shy guy. I'm a very introvert. I don't like being in the spotlight speaking because again, I'm still learning, man. I'm still part of the crowd. I don't think I have anything uh true to say because again, I'm just part of the ocean. I'm just learning each day, and that's what makes me happy. So yeah, I feel like that's one of the reasons that I decided to come back to Brazil. It's letting go of that ego that okay, I'm in Los Angeles base, I'm here, I'm an artist living in USA. No, I'm just here, I'm back in Brazil doing my stuff, doing what I love, and that's good enough for me. I'm working from home, I can have lunch with my wife and my kids. That's I'm rich because of that, man. That's it.
Ariel, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I
I
think
love it.
it's a beautiful way to close it. Like to
Let's do
say,
it.
I'm rich with what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, an honor to have you, man,
I love being
and
here, man. Thank you so much.
thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.